Sarah Maxwell, come on in. How you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm good. How you guys doing?
What time is it where you are?
12:15 lunchtime. So I should be working right now.
On June 27th, right?
Yes, June 27th.
I love Australia because it's like you're in the future. You can tell us what happened.
Well, I'm glad that I got this timing right, because the last US interview I had, I literally called a day early. And I was so ready, and I waited for an hour and a half on hold, just going, they're like, hey, mate, tomorrow, try again.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. And I want you to just do what I normally have the featured artists do. Give us your little elevator pitch of who you are and what you're doing. And then we're going to watch a snippet of the song Flawed, which we've already seen, but we're going to watch it again. So cool. Come back and get deeper with Dave, and that's what's going to happen.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. Well, long story short, let's get to the Cliff Notes version. Started as a dancer and choreographer, did that for 9 years, traveled around LA, London, Australia, choreographing shows. Realized I was too tall to end up as a backup dancer, so figured I should have a bit of a career change, and went to film school. So studied full-time for 2 years, became a director, producer, screenwriter, editor, and now I run a production house where I do that full-time. And music is my baby that I've been waiting to find the time and money for to actually put all of my passion and interest into. And I'm finally getting to that point now. So life is good.
Very cool. Very cool. So we're going to check out Flawed. Rob, when you're ready, go ahead and hit it. Everybody let us know what you think in the comments, and share this video out. We'll be right back.
Quitting smoking Monday. Go to the store. Drink a join us Monday. Here we go again. So, you hit a little bump in the road, yeah, mountain, molehill, get you nowhere. Don't be so goddamn hard on yourself. Common sense is not so common. Bold tip. Keep telling myself to stop this, stop that. Yelling at myself. I lose sight, lost track. Inhaling my wealth, cause I ain't got no cash. Never got enough. So I tell myself this'll be the day. Hey, I to rejoicing and far less Mayday. Under the foibles, I see my laneway. Cover the children's eyes, I'm about to make it bigger. I'm flawed and I know it. Clap for the underbelly of the one who flaunt it. Ooh, I could go a McNugget. Screw the gym, I wanna smoke a cig. McFuck it. Get a little high, this is a little sight. No, it ain't a ride, but it's somebody wanna play. Yeah, I'm still fly, I'm still got my head in the game. Come on and howl if you hear me. Your crutch, I think too much, don't live enough. My looks be fading, morals waving, celebrating zero fuck. A chocolate obsession, a rival, the best, and a pain in my chest when they telling me to stop. Put heavy on the gas, the beats better blast. I annoy everybody on the neighborhood block. No, I ain't perfect, nah, but at least I learned it. Pussy, you are such a bitch. You really wanna go this way, huh? Really wanna listen to the shit they say?
Deeper with Dave, deeper with Dave. Oh, yeah.
Sponsored by
Rocking it to the max. Well,
Sorry, I love that
Sarah,
intro.
Yes. How are you tonight or today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing? What time is it there? It's late, right?
Yeah, it's about 7 p.m. here.
David's bedtime.
But yeah, we were chatting before in the green room. I was looking you up online, just trying to do a quick review of your bio. I found something that said you were born a small black child in Alabama. Is that correct?
I can't believe that's online. No, there's so many that are, honestly, the funny thing is I changed my name for music, just my surname, because I wanted to remain a little bit close to home. But I didn't want to be completely my family name and all of that sort of stuff. So I changed my surname, and ever since then I've looked back and realized that my actual name, I'm one of a kind in the world. but
Whoa.
the name I've changed it to is Maxwell, which is representative of my grandfather, who I love, and so it has a lot of meaning. But it's just a bit of a slap in the face when people look me up, it's like, which Sarah Maxwell?
Okay, well, I got to say that. So I used to live in Sydney, Australia. Took a year off in college.
Woo!
Lived in Coogee Bay, and that's where, like, the area you were originally from, which is awesome. Yeah,
Crazy.
it's amazing.
It's beautiful there. Wow.
All right, so the point I made earlier in the show was just like this experience that I had listening to your music that I had earlier tonight with some of the other songs was. It starts off, I'm like, whoa, okay, this is cool. Like, what is this, just rap? It's like, oh, there's some hip hop flavor. Wait, there's some rack going on here. And then all these influences start like rushing in, and then you watch the video, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh man, what just happened? Like, there's so much going on there. So I want you to just kind of explain like your thought process in developing your sound and your production in your video, because you do that. You are the producer and the choreographer.
Yeah, it's a lot going on down here in the humble little city. In terms of the actual production, I cannot even slightly take credit for that. That was done by Astrid and Kat of Forces in Fury, and they are just two fireball ladies. They've built their own studio from scratch. They sample sounds, they do all sorts of things, and they built that entire sound from scratch while they're on holiday. So that's their version of relaxing. They came back from holiday. I heard that sound and went, that's mine. That is mine. I have to work on that. In terms of the actual video, that was just so much fun to play with, because the song is about being flawed, about being all over the place, about knowing what you're supposed to do. But of course, you're not going to do it, because guess what? We're all human. And instead of being so hard on ourselves all the time, and I am the prime candidate for that, I'm bully number one if I do something wrong. So I wanted a song that relieved me a little bit when I do fall off the wagon, I have a cigarette, or if I do have too much cake one night, or whatever it is. I need that little anthem in my head going, screw the gym, I want to smoke a cig, fuck it. That makes me feel great, you know? Yeah. And I'm sure it makes other people feel good a little bit sometimes.
I was wondering if there's a purpose to the eating the chocolate cake in there. Rob, am I unmuted? Everything okay? All right, so
yes, chocolate.
I remember the point I made when we first played your song. I think it was about a month back, which is you have this just really rare, uninhibited presence that you can see in your video, right? So I often pontificate to the kind viewers of the show. I've made the point that I think that's just something you're born with. I don't think that's something that can be taught, because if you're a shy person, I guess if you go to therapy for 10 years and you're like born a shy person, eventually you can come out of your shell and like just completely release all of your insecurities on stage. And I don't think it just happens overnight, but when I watch your video, I remember, I think it was Sammy from Blue Helix, right, Joe? Yeah. That was the point I made about him. Like you watch his video and he like seeks it out. He looks at that as an opportunity. It's like, man, this is my inner sanctum. This is who I am. And he just like lets everything loose. And I see that in you. So the point about it's something you're born with. Do you agree with that?
I do. I mean, initially when you said that, I was like, yeah. And then the more I think about it, I mean, and obviously I can just relate it back to myself, but I have had this extra level of, I want to perform, I want to entertain. I just have this, I want to make people smile. I want to make them laugh. I want to make them feel something. I want to raise questions that don't necessarily need to be answered, but need to be asked. And I don't think everyone's born with that. Like you said, I think if you want to come out of your shell a little bit, you can in a certain way. But all right, it's sort of the same as...
Let's do some armchair psychoanalysis here. So as a child, like age 4 to 12 or whatever, what were you like? Were you outgoing? Like, were you similar to what you see in the video? Were you just always dancing around and being fun? Or did something happen to you in high school or something?
Oh, I love this. Let's get deep.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's get deep.
So Yes, when I was a kid, I have videos of me doing all these silly little dances, stomping my feet, going, look at me, I want to sing, and all this sort of stuff. So I've definitely had the energy side. I also, and I feel like it's actually getting worse as I get older, which is hilarious, have some level of ADD that I don't want to diagnose. I don't want to have a technical analysis of that, but it fuels me, and it means that even with the projects that I'm doing, I need to keep them moving fast. I need to keep them fresh. I need to keep them exciting for myself, because if I'm editing them, I need to be entertained the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
mean, this is something I've talked about for like most of my life, the whole like ADD tag that people put on people. I mean, with the right team around you and with the right tools, that's a path towards what people would say. Yeah, but some people would say the final product's like, oh my God, that's brilliant. You're a genius. But yes, they also have ADD, and that's just kind of how they operate. They're always just like scattered and running around and everything. But if they can kind of control it in some small way, where they can put out a product or release a music or whatever their medium is, you see genius in that stuff, you know. So it's just a matter of like harnessing. Yeah,
that's exactly right, and that's I'm working on that. But it's so true that music, dance, any sort of creative art form for me, that is my release and my outlet. So that's the only time that I get to feel a little bit more calm than I do when I'm sort of running around daily going, okay, I've got this shoot today for work, and then I've got a shoot for myself after hours, and I've got to organize the dances and make sure that the food's there and the catering, and then all the lighting's done. Like, that's the start of it, you know what I mean? But yes, I have to also face facts that maybe this is the speed that I just run at. For a long time I've gone, I need to slow down, but every time I slow down, I quite quickly turn it around and then end up creating something I never thought I would. As soon as I say, I'll take a break from music for 2 days, I write a banger. I'm like, oh, okay. So
yeah. All right, well, unfortunately, we have to move on. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, that's fair. But I do want to say there's one thing. Can I just say one thing really quickly?
Yes.
So I saw that you reviewed my song a few weeks ago. It was while I was at work. It was in the middle of a shoot. It was very quick. I was like looking at bits of it. And the only thing that I heard was you saying that you actually listened to my lyrics, my friend. Thank you. There's a line in there that says, common sense is not so common, Voltaire. And that is what the entire song is based around. And you are the only one who has ever listened to it who got that. Only one. So high five, buddy. High five.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, plus chicken McFuckets. I mean, you got to throw that in there too. But
oh, yeah, that's my favorite.
all right, what's your...
I need a McNugget, bro.
Yeah, so you don't have a website. Where can people, just real quick, find you on social? What's your handle?
Find me on Instagram, Sarah Louise Maxwell, one word, or on Facebook, Music by Maxwell. Anything you should be able to find. If you type in Sarah Maxwell rapper after it or Muso, it should generally come up. But I do have some stuff coming out soon. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
thanks,
the second
guys.
right up.